Hello everyone, this is Elu Merge, and in this video I'm going to present to you one of the projects that I was working on. It's Italian client, and this is the consulting enterprise project brand. It's called Xomero. Before, the idea was to call it Omero, but it ended up with Zo. And it will be interesting for me to show you this. You can see the functional URL. And this is something I haven't showed you yet. I have never showed yet project where we can shift between languages. We also will have a blogging system that you already noticed I used in Elite Cruising and Tourist system. Really impressive. But before that, let's go into the every step. Now here, you just saw the URL coded by me. And here you can see the design that I did, but it is also done by me. You see no difference. That's what I sometimes emphasize, the beauty of the same person working on one project. Let's go. I like to go to my capabilities deck all the time into what I do, and I like to address those three segments that I'm serving my clients with. This project will cover all three of them. It's branding, interface, and web development. You just saw the perfect web development done exactly as I interface designed. At the same time, we apply the brand identity designed by me for my client. Let's go into this. So I will try to be short this time, and let me see. So I'll go to the branding right away. Again, every client have different dance, so to say, when we serve. When I serve as a designer, and we have different dialogue, different connection. And here we went with client through the regular things that I like to do in the beginning. I call it branding therapies. So I talk with decision makers, in this case, my client, only one person for this project. And I go through, have a set of questions to address. And usually the conversation goes fluently, creatively, but I do have a strategic structure here. But every time I'm starting, we just dance around and go back and forth, and I'm registering important information for me to make sure that I am using this information to help me to make right decisions as I create, brand, and design. And you can see this is probably the messy process. And then here I cancel out the information that is not necessary and what was important. At the same time, I like to address the archetype selection. And I had some examples on, we also did for this client, positioning statement exercise that extracts the keywords that allow then us to craft some kind of positioning statement. That was the beginning, and also eventually, I'm not showing the whole process, but in this case, client had a logo type reference, and he liked the logo that he had, and I ended up just needed to make sure that it's in accordance, created in proper format, right ratio, right composition between elements. This was easy with logo type, but brand identity still needs to be created, and this logo kind of dictates the direction. At the same time, before there was no X, there was O. The reason being because every letter means something. You'll see on the website. Yet X was added just because of the not copywriting, but copyrights. It was already taken, and we didn't really want it to be confusing if we take Xomero. So X was addition into that branding name, and that was the reason. So I needed to come up with some kind of solution to make it look well, because the idea was the O and O like kind of as a brackets and a symmetry, but yet X became also pleasant as O actually taking space, and these guys are kind of behind, and X becomes beautifully fit into this logo. Now, and idea was, of course, with the sand, not of course, but with the sand, sand was on my mind, sculptures was on my mind, and we talked for the process. I learned about my client perspective, so to say, and I ended up with the stylescapes, free versions, quite similar to the degree, because we know the direction to some level, yet I'm trying to present different approach with a different font, different colors, and different imagery, so to say. And color also the gradients, and as often it happens to be that we end up kind of blending them all together and selecting right elements. This was the direction to go with. And you will notice that on a website, we will not really be using that much of white or that much of black yet. Evolving this brand further, evolving their website further, let's say maybe they will have eventually success stories that will have something more to add, more products, so maybe some kind of repositioning. We can play with these colors at the same time. What we have developed, because this brand identity system, it dictates how we can use the system for other elements like graphics, design graphics, or brochures, or stand and alike. Like I had in a previous project, if you will check it out, the critical input, they have a stand and other assets like business cards created before doing before doing brand guidelines. So it's a really beautiful element that is always at service to us to let's say step from towards anything that we will be creating in respect to the design and branding. And you will see how things will start to come together. At the same time, we know the competitors, also some inspiration here I have had with imagery, and you can see when this name gave me idea about the logo brand name. And the sand and sculpture was the main approach of Michelangelo work of David. And sand, the idea is that the ancient peaceful space and craft of human touch, of precision and perfection and such, and beauty of elegance of that. Anyway, so what I had some, of course, understanding from my client. I do know McKinsey, for example, because this is the business enterprise consulting, and it makes sense that, and it's Italy, so it makes sense that McKinsey will be one of the main competitors, so to say. So we have some collection. I'm addressing some references, and I'm making sure that we're not looking like anything our competitors, but we're also respecting and learning from our competitors what they did well, and we want to integrate that into our brand identity and website. Set of images and also brand guidelines. Here we are. We're actually building brand guidelines first. Oh, I didn't remember. Maybe we build it after the website. I'm not sure. But nevertheless, so we have this approach of logo, black, white, and gold. And that's what I like about brand style guidelines or brand style guidebook, because eventually when you register that in stone, so to say, you eventually make a decision and conclusion that this is what we're going to have. And eventually when I do a website, I might come back and readdress some kind of disposition here and there, because we see that being applied in practice. So you can see we come up with registration for the whole information. This is not one of the biggest brand identity guidebooks that I have created, because it's the beginning and it's a startup. I did create a massive 50 pages, let's say, for the company that was existing in a marketplace. They definitely need something bigger. But this is, again, as always, I like to say, guidelines book is a living, breathing document that we always have to readdress and release different editions. This is the first edition. Eventually, when they grow, we build something new, we'll register that into the book. So you can see the dominance of logos, so primary, secondary, the icon only, the clear space, the color selection and code, the application of logo type with a color, and indication what is the first, what is not, the fonts and the hierarchy of typography, and just basic information. And at the end that I like to present, and I do give some kind of signature of applying brand identity into the brand guidelines book that itself, so to say. And that's the beautiful part of it. I also like to see, we did also the registration of the social media look and feel. So we made sure that I like to see how it looks like. So I had two versions, for example, how it looks like with this brand identity and this, and the background and the color. And that's really interesting. So we ended up using them. If you check that on LinkedIn, you'll see, I think we use sand and the icon of this one. The beauty is that you can evolve, you can reuse or update your look and feel after time, just to give some fresh perspective for the audience. At the same time, what I want to say, for example, what you will notice that even by doing social media look and feel from the identity, you can see that I came up with some kind of new bluish gradient. It's quite different from this one. And I think even golden is also different direction, but probably the same color. Something new I have explored here. Now it's kind of complementary and quite novelty to this brand. We haven't registered this idea yet, but I already see that playing further on, working with me, I will come up with something new to register for the brand identity guidebook to use for this brand. So it's really interesting. Okay, let's go further from the branding. So we defined the branding eventually. We agreed with my client, and we will go to the usually website. So it's website. Again, as I mentioned probably in the previous critical input website that I built, I also see that this was simple structure. We agreed upon this, so it was really quickly home, services, methods. Method will become maybe even services. I think we'll combine. You can see I even brought them together. My offer was like, we don't need to split it. We don't need to overwhelm with information. We can actually integrate method into the services, and then we could go to each service that this brand serves separately through this page. About us, insights, a CMS, that's the blog CMS system, and contact us. So that was the sitemap for this. Usually it's a short step. Then I always like to bring competitors, always making sure that we keeping an eye on this stylescape also, just in case we want to extract some novelty, and the main stylescape that we chose, some inspiration, some information, and some references to websites that are relatively moving in the same direction. I do take everything around me. I do register that as here I'm leaving it for the as if in stillness. After we're done with wireframes, I'll continue further. It's really beautiful to see that in stillness, and that what served me to build this. So you can see, as you know already, we're building wireframes. Wireframes, I always will try to be short to the point, because I many times introduced this. Wireframes is important because we ignoring the false judgment on the visuals, or subjective judgment on likes and dislikes of aesthetics. We don't want to make false judgment, so it's important to go just with gray colors and judge navigation, orientation, content, strategy, and such. That is why wireframes is really important to go with. By the way, I also want to mention, I like to mention this project, I'm totally sure I will be coding, so I'm not really investing that much time into building the responsive mobile version, because I know already, predict with my 10 years expertise, I know that I know how I'm going to organize, and I will show you the results as well. So with wireframes, again, I like to build this. I have my own system that I built for myself in wireframes. You can see, for example, these things like minutes was a good idea, arrow was a good idea, but they will not be used. And you see, we have this image in the background. We're talking about the video loop. Video loop will be later integrated, but for now we're keeping image only. You can see, by the way, logo without X yet here visible. Because we find out that it's better to take Xomero later on once we'll be into the visuals. And we just walk with the client for the whole thing and decide on things. And you'll see that some sections will be removed, some will be replaced in order, some information will be canceled, and so on. So it's always important to go step by step. Even this calendar was a good idea, but we decided not to eventually. So it's really interesting to see how everything comes together. Let's go into the visuals. I love this, as I always like to mention when I do myself the branding, when I do myself interface design with wireframes. I like to, go into the where it is information architecture. Yeah, detailed wireframes. I like to build wireframes with brand identity. Let me go back. And then apply using my brand identity craft, apply to the wireframes, building that visual website. It's interesting. Every phase is interesting, but this one is witnessing how it's going to look like actually. And then coding will be also exciting to make it alive, what I have created. I guess that's what I like all these free phases to be involved into also, because I see start and beginning, and I make sure that everything is consistent. So with the visuals, it becomes clean. You can see we don't have anything around, and I'm going to build this. I like to build in this kind of components so I can manipulate and move sections around, because footer are repetitive everywhere. So it's easy for me to manipulate information quickly. And so we develop here and there. You can see, for example, eventually we have there was something else, but credentials and so on. So it's beautifully coming together eventually. And you'll see, I'll show you soon, URL website itself. And every service you will see, I'll present to you. This was a reference for the photography for my client, Nikolai. This is a reference how it should look like. Some references for these people, also how it could go. So we on brand. And again, like these images can be registered into the brand identity guidelines as the example of what we're trying to achieve and present. So it's really beautiful as well. Blogging will be interesting to deliver. And the language, of course, Italian and English. I like to take care of legal part also. I don't like to keep it unprofessional. I'm keeping everything consistent. So here we are, and we can go to the presentation, and they can check, my clients always check before coding. We just make sure everything is working well. Again, it's not totally functional. It's always will be best once we code it. You can see I think we'll have golden gradient. I'm not sure. Imagery selection will be maybe a little bit adapted. I like to say that copywriting and assets photography, I like to point out to my clients that this is something to make sure, are they providing, do they need my help? Do they need a copywriter? Are they going to purchase the photography, videography? Do they have someone working on that? I'm making sure they're aware, and we cover that, not to have any unexpected kind of steps ahead. So now we check with you the whole thing. Let's go into URL. and experience itself. So you can see cookies, it's important. It's already coded, so great, I understand. The idea is to make a video loop on the background. We'll do it later. For now, it's the photography. That's the question about, do you want to purchase these video footages and combine them into one video? It's kind of something that is you consider about expenses and such. So we're leaving it for later. You can see the timer is not here, arrow is not here, but it's okay, we don't need it. So you can see it's really coming all together. We can go for every service that this consulting enterprise offers. And we can go to Italian language. It was interesting for me to try with Webflow to use this localization, so to say, service that Webflow offers, something for me to play newly. So it's really exciting what they have there. Let's go to Italian and see what we see. So you see it converts to Italian and it's beautifully marked that we are there. Of course, we're in English. I will continue in English. And we can learn, we can contact us. So it's just summary and what we do, our services. You can go right away into the services. And this is arrows, but on a mobile version, on the tapping, it will be horizontal scrolling. So you can shift between every service and go into it, or explore all services if you want to. And then we go who we help. So this is the target audience, so to say. They can contact us. 3 categories: large businesses, medium sizes, and visionary leaders and entrepreneurs. Why choosing us? So, kind of answering. I like to build a structure of answering on every important question. Credentials and our focus. Also interesting. Explore our services again. Xomero framework. This is something important. This is the part of associating to each letter: exploration, objective, means, entrepreneurship, results, and odyssey. Letter is associated to each, and inspiration, people that are inspiration for my client. I like this idea. It gives a little personality. It gives a little bit of understanding and framework and trustworthiness and clarity that there's a strategy and creativity behind every step, every thought. It really positions well my client. Here you can see our latest insights. So we have 3 blogs already written, and it's interesting to combine it with the Italian version also. Imagery, I'm helping my client with the imagery selection to check, and it's really a good idea to do that in order to sustain the branding identity consistency. We'll be going into every page, and this is how it looks like. I even like those details. We can go back, we can go to LinkedIn, to every page. So what is usually next is services. Really interesting section will be there a little bit. Learn more on service packages. You can go right away. I like to call to action right away to check those services, or you can learn more. Come here. This was interesting integration. Later we added. This was not section designed, but I coded it. I designed it as I was coding directly. Sometimes I don't spend time designing. I just go in if we're already done and we want to add something extra. It's really clever. On a mobile device, you can check it, feel free, but on a mobile device, it'll be horizontally scrolling because it doesn't fit. So the beauty thing is that you can hover over every port and it indicates what is our service package for which. If you want division, it will be 1 and 6, for example, and so on. But at the same time, beauty is that if you hover here, you will learn what they are connected to as well, and output, what is the output for each of them. And you can see here it doesn't, so here it does. It's interesting, it was interesting to make that interaction responsiveness not that complicated to do. Some elements just hidden, but it's clever, simple, and clear, and even engaging and exciting to give our clients to understand what they're interested. If they're interested in project management, there'll be probably priorities, and there'll be project outcomes and such. So it's really clever. Service packages will be going there in a second. Our approach, also something new that they can learn. How we work, this is also something they can learn about, and that's about it. The point is of navigation also, they always can click this arrow, go back, or because they passed already service packaging, they could close, they could click the arrow and they could go right away into the service packaging, or they don't really need to do that because they already know, like, okay, let me check it here. So there are different ways to get into the places where they want to go into. So the beauty of those also, if I go to the business strategy, for example, we have this beautiful disposition. The thing is, you can shift between them, right? I like proper navigation of different options. So you can learn right away about it and read about it. All of them have the same structure, have same disposition. Who is this for example, specifically the service business strategy and what to expect, so to say, request our service. It's like right away coming back to this section. It's covering main things to know enough. We can expand if we want to, but this was the idea to go as short as that. and deliver the basic information what to expect and call to action to go to context us. And the beauty is that you can shift between these instantly, or you can go here. It's your choice. Or you can go actually all the way down and shift here. So it's any way you want it. So I covered everything, making sure that they know the whole navigation. So this is about us. It's describing about us. So it's founder. Shortly, really well done photography. I like when clients, this is what's something interesting, when clients actually following the guidelines and actually doing the photo session as fresh. They want themselves, they value that, because that's a big deal. It's beautiful when people value their business and they want to make it right and consistent, and they invest themselves into making it. Even with the photography selection, I like it. At the same time, with my client, we quite well familiar, so I decided to support. Here's, by the way, our core values also really well set. And some vision, so I have mission and vision. So I decided to support, or agreed that I want to join. I want to support them also as a CMO, as co-founder, as a creative kind of individual. And we brought 3 of people for the beginning, and there'll be more people to include. But I like the idea, and we really had a good conversation. And we say, okay, let's do this. Let's partner on this one. So it was pleasure, and you can see beautifully our organized photography here. And that's about us. Let's go to the insights. Now, this is also interesting. I like this review collection, and feel free to check it on a mobile device. I'm not really presenting on a mobile that much, but everything is responsive and perfect. Actually, maybe can I go there right now? I think it's a different account. But anyways, you can check out the projects also that I did to check how I work with responsiveness, because I present that on different projects from before. Now, listen, I like this system. You probably learned from before. Elite Cruising and Tours, I use this, and I'll continue using this. It's beautiful because I can show you in practice how to unlock, for example, how to unlock. You can see live how it just finds exactly what a type of, it should be also the date. Let's say January, you see, 21st, yeah. Or let me see what else. April 14, you see, beautiful system. Like, it really just, it's coming to you instead of scrolling and trying to find or searching. It's live. I don't know why I'm never meeting anyone doing this, but I definitely recommend that. At the same time, filters, for now I have filter only one, but we'll continue adding more. And you always have, you see, it's position sticky, so it follows us, and you can always go back. So it's really powerful, really well to navigate and manipulate. So let's go into one of them. Let's go in this one, business, how to unlock the full potential of. So this is the structure. You can go always back easily into the insights, or we can learn more. Continue reading. Let's learn more, and we can read the whole text. So my client follows CMS system, and he can do it himself. Yet we understand that I'm helping with proper imagery selection, just to confirm if this is on brand. So that'll be it. And contact us, the whole thing is taking them to contact us, the information, and then they're going to submit. They go to the privacy policy or terms of use, and use of cookies also. And always is, I like the consistency, the beauty of combination. That's all, guys, I wanted to present to you. I hope this was insightful. I do like this project. I do see how it can evolve further with the branding that I have created for my client. And for now, it's really good to see how it's used properly. I really like to be part of this also. Sometimes it happens. I do have different people that I like to support each other. So we partner together. Can be developers, copywriters, can be entrepreneurs and such. So this is exciting, guys. That's all I want to say. Thank you so much for your attention. This was Ian Merch with you, and have an amazing day. Take care.